You may be wondering, is there a stronger sword than the Master Sword? To answer the question, yes, and it's called the Biggoron Sword. Hey guys, Guts here from Zelda Sanctuary with our Biggoron Sword guide. So this sword isn't like the Goron Knife that you can purchase for 200 rupees from Biggoron's little brother. No. The Biggoron Sword does double the damage the Master Sword can output, and it'll never break, unlike Biggoron's little brother. The Biggoron Sword side quest is immediately available once you become Adult Link. However, the following needs to be completed before you can attempt such a task. First, you need Epona. Epona is being held by Ingo, the new owner of Lon Lon Ranch granted by Dark Lord Ganondorf. In order to get Epona, check out our Epona guide in the description below. Secondly, you need King Zora. Once you become an adult, he's been frozen solid in red ice. The only way to free him is using some bottled blue fire, which can be purchased from a shop or found in the Ice Cavern. Next, you need magic beans. It would be recommended to use a magic bean that is planted in front of the entrance to Dodongo's cavern. If you haven't done so, this means you'll have to complete the forest temple first in order to go back in time to plant it as a child. Also to note, warping songs don't work as most of these trading sequences are timed. When you warp during a timed sequence, your timer will automatically be marked down to 0, and you'll have to start over from where you last left off. That's really all you need to know before starting the Biggoron trading sequence. Now for the actual trading sequence itself. Our side quest begins with talking to the Cucco lady in Kakariko Village, who informs you that she's learning how to breed a new species of Cucco called the Pocket Cucco. As a test, she gives you the Pocket Cucco to raise. To hatch this Cucco, simply wait till dawn of the next day. Simply playing the Sun Song will make this much easier. Once you've hatched the Pocket Cucco, you must find Talon, who's sleeping somewhere in Kakariko Village after losing his ownership of Lon Lon Ranch to Ingo. There should be a house across the Skulltula house and the shooting gallery that you can enter into and find him lying there on a bed. Use the Pocket Cucco to wake him up from his slumber. Talon will wake up and then he'll state he'll go back to Lon Lon Ranch if you already have saved Malon and Epona from Ingo's clutches. Return to the Cucco lady and she'll applaud you for being a good Cucco breeder that she'll gift you with Kojiro, who once belonged to her brother Grog. Kojiro, as stated before, belonged to the Cucco lady's brother, who's named Grog. Grog is a pale character who seems pretty depressed. He thinks his family is disgusting, and that people in general are disgusting. Grog has left Kakariko Village and is now located in the Lost Woods. If you take Kojiro to the Lost Woods, it'll begin to crow loudly as you get closer to Grog. Grog is located where Skull Kid would normally be if you left at the start of the Lost Woods. He's under the stump hunched over. When you approach him and show him how happy Kojiro is, he'll state that he's impressed with Link. Grog also claims that Kojiro can only be tamed by nice guys, and therefore believes Link is a nice guy. As a reward for returning Kojiro to Grog, he gives Link the Odd Mushroom and is asked to deliver the Odd Mushroom to the old granny in Kakariko Potion Shop. When you receive the Odd Mushroom, you have a total of 3 minutes to get back to Kakariko Village. Having Epona will come in handy for this. Remember, warp songs don't work in this regard. This is made a lot easier if you happen to have magic beans planted as well. Once you arrive back at Kakariko Village, you should proceed to the last building on the far right as you're heading to Death Mountain. Right next to the entrance of Death Mountain Trail is the Potion Shop. Enter the Potion Shop and speak to Granny inside. Once you speak to her, she'll brew you the Odd Potion. Upon returning to the Lost Woods with the Odd Potion, you'll notice that Grog is nowhere to be found, but in his place is Fado, one of the Kokiri. Fado explains that Grog has left his saw behind, but that he may also have become lost in the Lost Woods. In return for the Odd Potion, she gives you the poacher saw that was left over from Grog's materials. Quite a predicament. Once you have the poacher saw, we can then head to Gerudo Valley. If you have Epona or the Longshot, you can travel over the gap across the valley to get to the other side. There will be a tent with a carpenter outside. Speak with him and he'll be surprised to have his long-lost tool back in his possession. He then explains that he had probably left it behind with his mother. In exchange for the poacher saw, Muto gives Link the broken Goron Sword. With the broken Goron Sword in hand, let's travel to the summit of Death Mountain, where we can find Big Goron. Unfortunately, when we find him, it appears that there is something wrong with his eyes. Showing him the broken Goron Sword, he explains that this is definitely his work, however, a lot of the volcano dust has covered his eyes, making it painful for him to see. He'll take the broken Goron Sword and ask if he can see King Zora with his prescription. Return to the now frozen Zora's domain and speak to King Zora and deliver the prescription. If King Zora is still frozen in red ice, visit the ice cavern to get some blue fire in a bottle for free, or check a shop that sells blue fire in a bottle. Once you speak to him, King Zora will give you an eyeball frog, which is known to have several medical properties that are native to Zora's domain. This will be needed in order to make the eye drops for Big Goron. Yet again, this is a time sequence you only have 3 minutes to get the eyeball frog to the lake scientist in Lake Hylia at the Lakeside Laboratory. Upon arrival and showing the eyeball frog to the scientist, he's overjoyed by the sight of it. Unfortunately, he's mistaken. Thinking that Link is gifting him such an item to make dinner, he becomes immediately disappointed to hear that they need to be made into eye drops for Big Goron. The scientist will then make the world's finest eye drops. However, these eye drops don't have preservatives in it, and they'll spoil after 4 minutes if not delivered on time to Big Goron. This is probably the most difficult part of the trade sequence thus far. Though you have roughly 4 minutes to get these eye drops to Big Goron, getting there is the main challenge. Having Epona and magic beans planted will prove fruitful for this challenge. However, once you arrive back at the summit of Death Mountain and give Big Goron the eye drops, he'll then give you a claim check. The claim check is for you to keep for about 3 in-game days. Having the Sun Song would come in handy for this, as you can initially skip them pretty quickly. Once you have waited 3 days, you can check with Big Goron, who will happily give you his finest work, the Biggoron Sword. With this two-handed weapon, Link will now be able to do twice the amount of damage than the Master Sword. The only downside is you can't use your shield while wielding this weapon. This has been Gutsy with Zelda Sanctuary. May the way of the hero lead to the Triforce.